Hello, my name is Connie Jung, Associate Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Hoso University, South Korea. This is one of researches conducted in the Center for Gender Innovation in Science and Technological Researches. The subject is about gender innovation and woman empowerment. 네.
왜냐하면 높으시니까 너무 밑으로 내려오는 게 너무 많이.
너무 티나요?
예, 아니, 티는 나셔도 상관없는데
네.
너무 눈이
그래요?
내려오시니까 차라리 없으시는 게 좀 나을 것 같아요.
아니, 화면이 위에 있으면 좋은데 이게 없으니까
그러니까 여기에
차라리 그러겠네. 그렇죠. 네. Hello, my name is Connie Jung, Associate Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Hoso University, South Korea. This is one of the researches conducted in the Center for Gender Innovation in Science and Technological Researches. The subject is about gender innovation and woman empowerment in disaster management. Disaster is not gender neutral. This is the reason why this research was started. There are many reports about women's vulnerability in disaster. Most of survivors trapped in the dying city are women, such as women with children, women on their own, and elderly women in wheelchairs. In the 1995 Kobe, Japan earthquake, 1.5 times more women died than men. In 1991 flood in Bangladesh, 5 times as many women as men died. In the Southeast Asia 2004 tsunami, death rate of women across the region averaged 3 to 4 times larger than men. It is clearer in developing countries. Women and girls generally tend to be the main victim of natural disaster. The reason for high death toll among men, women, and girls include cultural constraint on female mobility, lack of physical skill such as swimming or tree climbing, less physical strength than male, and socially constructed gender differences in other factors. For example, women cannot leave the home without male's permission, or women they don't want stay in the shelter because they do not have separate and private spaces for women. However, it is not always true in higher income countries. When Hurricane Katrina struck the Gulf Coast, the percentage of men and women victims were almost equal. Just half of victims were older than 75 years old. Therefore, it looked like there are no gender differences in the developed countries. However, in Louisiana, large percentage of female population or female-headed families were poor. Therefore, they were forced to live in disaster-prone area and did not have enough economic support after the disaster. Also, women faced high risk of gender-based violence such as physical, mental, and emotional violence even in the higher income countries. In the first year of research, a ferry accident occurred in 2014 in South Korea was analyzed. Total 299 people were died and 192 people were survived. Overall, 40% of male passengers were rescued, but only 29% of female passengers were survived. According to the April 21, 2014 article, there was a broadcast saying that please do not move or remain cabins because it was very dangerous even when the heart was tilted. It was expected that women were more likely to follow disaster broadcast and became victims without evacuation opportunities. In the 20s or older, the proportion of female victims is higher than that of men. Therefore, it looked like women could be more vulnerable in disaster situations in South Korea. Also, to develop a gender-sensitive disaster policy, flood vulnerable index in 25 districts of the Seoul metropolitan area was calculated using pressure, state, response structure, and entropy method. The flood vulnerability index was calculated in two cases, with and without gender factors, such as percentage of female population and female employment rate. Out of 25 districts studied, 11 were similar in length, but 14 differed based on the gender factors considered. As more women are employed, the vulnerability became decreased. Therefore, gender factors and vulnerable regions can be recognized and should be utilized in the decision-making process. Lastly, online survey in disaster management was implemented in 2nd October of 2019. Total number of respondents was 489 adults over 20 years old. Among them, 239 were male, 250 were female. Categories of questions was recognition about possibility of disaster and safety, accident occurrence, and personal ability or experiences of disaster prevention and responses. As a result, there was no significant differences within 95% significant level in terms of recognition about possibility of disaster and safety accident occurrences. The possibility of emergency rescue, such as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, in male was about 34 times higher than in women, according to variance analysis. Also, educational experience in theoretical class or training about disaster management were different. More than 60% of females did not have experience in evacuation practices. There was no significant differences in willingness to attend disaster and safety training and theoretical classes. Just there was not enough opportunity for females to be participated in the practical training or theoretical education. Males usually have some chances during their military services. Therefore, by enhancing females' participation in the disaster risk reduction and response, the social resilience on disaster will be strengthened. In Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, the importance of gender in disaster risk reduction was emphasized as well. Furthermore, Sendai framework emphasized that women and their participation are critical to effectively managing disaster risk and designing, resourcing, and implementing gender-sensitive disaster risk reduction policies, plans, and programs. And adequate capacity building measures need to be taken to empower women for preparedness as well as build their capacity for alternative livelihood means in post-disaster situation. In my conclusions, in many studies under the unexpected natural disasters such as flood or earthquake, women and children were more vulnerable and suffered more severely because of patriarchal society or traditional gender law. Also, women are more at risk to domestic violence and more likely to be responsible for child care. In all countries, the location they live and child care are critical risk factors during disaster impact stage. Therefore, many reports and guidelines were published to ensure safety of women in disaster situations, especially in developing countries. However, There are also many studies showing that women's effort and cooperations are very important to recover from damages and enhance resilience of society under disaster situation. Women and men differ with regard to their respect perceptions of and reaction to disaster management. Therefore, women's and men's contribution to disaster resilience differ, especially in their respective role in society. By empowering women, disaster vulnerability will be reduced and resilience of society will be enhanced. Also, women's leadership and dedication to vulnerable or damaged society in recovery process can improve local connection and entire social resilience. Therefore, women's role in disaster management should be defined by encouraging and empowering women leaders in local communities. Thank you for your listening.